let me check that. Yeah, so it's good. Okay. Should I don't really know now because that might fuck up my internet, dude. I would like to start this fucking segment. Like I'm at okay. I need to make sure it's public. I'm a little bit high right now, dude. Weed is just like I'm in favor of anybody who wants to smoke weed. It's like you should have the right to do whatever you want, but Jesus Christ, it's just not fucking good for like your fucking like intelligence. Like bro, weed makes me completely fucking brain dead. Like I should really fucking stop doing this shit. Time is just fucking long, and like when you smoke weed, like fucking hours don't feel as fucking long and shit. But yeah, I feel like I'd probably be way less retarded if I smoked weed. Like I should fucking stop doing that. Okay, let me edit the title. Yeah, I don't really know what to title this. I was just gonna start streaming when we like was saying, yeah, I sort of feel like this, and yeah, I started streaming, and it didn't let me stream. Now, thing is, this can be a problem that happens sometimes. Look at your electricity cutting out. That happens sometimes. It sucks. Is it a big deal? Well, I mean, who knows? Sometimes it could be a big deal. You could be doing something important, your electricity cuts out all of a sudden, and, well, I don't know, you on your computer, you were typing up a report or something, you haven't saved for a while because you didn't really think about it, or you're someone who just doesn't really do that shit starts to, yeah, your electricity run just cuts out. You might have to, like, I don't know, your clock, you might have to reconfigure it. And if you were working on something, yeah, you just lost that. And whatever you might be doing, like, yeah, you might have to wait and do it later. But the thing is, your electricity cutting out, it is very rare. It could happen like what maximum once a month, not even. It doesn't even happen once a month. When's the last time that happened to you? Like it is something that almost never happens. It is a rare incident. Now, with Cox, that's a whole different story. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is that Cox are thieves. They are scammers. They shouldn't be allowed to advertise their platform anywhere. Like Cox's company, it's not a company. It's a scamming service. They do not offer the service that they promise in return for your money. So that would constitute you as a thief if you promise something, whether it's a good or a service, in return for a certain amount of money. The person gives you said amount of money in return for that service, and you do not offer the service that you promised, you are a thief. Because just like they are giving you that money is now yours, you are giving them that service is now theirs. They own it. So if if said service isn't provided, you either refund them fully or you are a thief. You should go to jail, get butt raped. Okay? So I cannot stand Cox because not only are they scammers, but it's not even like they will refund people. So they are yeah, they're absolutely scamming people. Now unfortunately I can't get what's it called? There's a better internet thing over here. Most people use it. Well, in the where I live, I sort of live in the suburb. It's not like I live legit like in the fucking countryside. I'm I'm the only fucking house within a mile. There's like a farm maybe. Like no, it's house next to house next to house. This is a normal place where you should be able to have internet. Now, yeah, well, I completely forgot what the other thing is called. Wait, what are internet? Yeah. Wait. Fucking hell. Yeah, LUS fiber. Like, I would like to have LUS fiber, but they just don't deliver where I am, and, yeah, thing is, I have Cox. Now, I have Cox, I have my internet plugged in, I have my Wi-Fi, I even have my Ethernet. Now, I pay, well, my mother pays, actually, so my mother's getting scammed. When you pay for internet, this isn't your phone. You're not paying for a certain amount of data, and once you're out of data, well, it just starts running slow or charging you. So, no, when you pay for internet, like Cox, you are paying for your home to have 24/7 internet, period. There is no cooldown, there's no maximum. No, like if your router's overflowing, that's a different story. Like if you're getting DDoS or something, but like if the electricity, if you paid your electricity company, say, yeah, like however much money per month, and they didn't provide you with the electricity in return for that money, if pretty much every day, yeah, like, oh, today the electricity doesn't work. Oh, it's just like yesterday and the day before that. Oh, well, who knows? There's at least gonna be a week, like a week straight during this month where, like, oh, well, I guess today electricity, ah, well, we can't really use that. No, if you paid for it, these people either give you the electricity or fully refund you, because if they don't, they are thieves and they are scammers. So, yeah, if this happens like once a month, some that is an occasion, um, yeah, it doesn't really impede on your life. If you have like, let's say once a month, your electricity cuts out, is that actually going to be like detrimental to your life? Is that really some that meaningful? No, like was it? That's some that almost never happens. It's like just yes, some fucking yeah. It just sucks. It just sucks. Like whenever that happens, but it costs not providing you internet is literally constant. They will make you pay, and I remember when I lived in a different place back then. I also at Cox. I lived in an apartment complex. Yeah, like it'd be constant. Just oh well, right now the internet just doesn't work. Oh well, right now the like not half the time, but almost like at least one day out of three. It hadn't happened like in a while. There are periods of times where it does that more, but I have legit gone to these internet places multiple times. I went over there and they said, "Oh no, you just need to like you could just pay more to get like better internet than yeah, you pay more, same thing, they just don't provide the service." Now internet is something that nowadays you have to use. It is a part of our everyday life. You need internet to go by your life, to like, yeah, what do you spend most of your time doing? What are most of the things that we do today? I remember when I was in school, a lot of the time this had real like this had real consequences on my grades. A lot of the time I'd be in the middle of a homework assignment, and well, the worst thing is I needed to use my prescription medication to be able to concentrate on stuff. I still do, so I'll use my prescription medication, and for a certain amount of time I can actually be productive. I can do things. Uh, like, yeah, so many times I'd have taken that specifically to do my homework. Once that wears out, like, yeah, I'm sort of a sack of potatoes. I can't do shit. And yeah, I took the stuff to do my homework, to be able to concentrate, and yeah, the internet cuts out. Well, guess what? Today I can't do my homework assignment. I just got an F because these people robbed me. And well, my mother, and this has to be put into into actual perspective. This has to be said as it is, literally. These people are thieves. They should be in jail. Somebody needs to sue them. Like, Imagine if I was an actual streamer. Imagine if my job was to stream. These people's theft would cost me my life. These people need to be in prison. Like, why isn't someone suing Cox over this? They are robbing their customers. They are promising them a service, and they are not delivering on that service. Like, I know I'm not the only one. I used to live somewhere else. I also had Cox, and they did the same exact thing. These people are thieves, they are scammers, and people's lives can, like, really be impacted by this. Like, because these people choose to take the money that uh, was the money that is paying for the service that they aren't fucking providing. Because these people took your money and now they aren't actually delivering on their promise, delivering on, well, what is legally required of them by law, since they fucking like made the contract with you. Okay, you're getting internet, and in exchange, I'm getting money. You took these people's money. If you do not provide internet, or if there happens to be a problem, oh, your internet is down, like constantly, well, either that gets fixed immediately forever, or you refund, or you're a thief, you go to jail. Seriously, someone needs to sue over this. These people, like, you need internet. Like, a bit of everyone over here, I'm using Cox, I'm having to get, my mother is having to give money to these fucking fraud scammers because no other service is available there. So these people promise a service, they're allowed to advertise themselves. I've seen them advertising their scam platform on YouTube, on Paramount Plus. These people are a scam. They should not be legally allowed to advertise themselves anywhere. They should, like, the Cox company should just be taken down. It should legit just be fucking sued into bankruptcy, and it shouldn't be legally allowed to operate. It is a scam. Scams shouldn't be allowed to operate. Like, seriously, this type of shit, your internet going down. In this generation, you rely on internet. If you're in school, oh, well, you can't have internet, well, you fail school. A lot of the homework, when I was in school, pretty much all of the homework was to be done online. Pretty much all of the homework was online. Pretty much all of your life in general, if you live in this generation, like, your life depends on internet. You need that. You rely on internet access to go by your everyday life. That is the world we live in today. So when these scammers are offering a service, they're promising a service, and they are lying, they are scamming you, they are not providing that service. And by the way, just to be clear, the service is 24/7, 365, like, for as long as you keep paying your bills, 24/7 internet. Like, this this isn't an issue of, oh, well, this isn't exactly what I'm paying for. I got, like, my internet crashed once this month. No, this is seriously different than the service that that you made me pay for. This is seriously different. And you can't, you also, by the way, I know I am a capitalist. I'm not being a hypocrite here. This isn't, oh, well, I don't know, you sort of, well, you gave them that money. You gave them that money. No, I gave them that money in exchange for a product. That was the deal. If I am not getting that product, they are scammers. They advertise themselves as an internet company. I've seen an ad from them that described them as a company which delivers internet. They even, I'm pretty sure, said in their ads 24/7 internet. For having the. Let me see if I can find an ad from Cox. Let me see. Does this say 24/7? I'm sure some of them fucking do. I've seen some. Wait, this isn't even fucking YouTube. What the fuck? Anything that's not fucking 4 years old. Either way, like, dude, I'm not trying to visit this thing. Is this a YouTube? Like, either way, I've definitely seen them advertising themselves as an internet service. They've advertised themselves as an internet company. They should be sued for this. They should not be allowed to advertise themselves as an internet company because they are a scam company. If you want to advertise yourself as a scam company, put a disclaimer, we are frauds, we are scammers. If you give me money, you will be robbed. Tobacco companies, although everyone knows what the risks of tobacco are, and like, either way, you choose to put that in your body, it's up to you to, educate yourself on, oh, is this going to hurt me? Is it... When you offer a service, this isn't the same thing. When you're offering tobacco, you're not saying what this tobacco would do to you. You're just saying, hey, do you want it or do you not want it? And, yeah, these companies shouldn't be having to put any disclaimer in their shit. It's like, that's not their responsibility. But these companies, they are literally being deceitful. What you are paying for is not what you're getting. You are paying for 24/7 internet. You're paying for constant internet, and the internet is legit on and off. Like, you can't live like this. You can't live your daily life in 2023, like, just, oh, well, sometimes my internet's on, sometimes it's off. Oh, well, whenever my internet so happens to be off, oh, well, we'll just pause life. We'll just go do something else. No, you rely on the internet for, like, going about your everyday life. Like, when the internet goes off, your life can be put on pause. But things still need to be done, so... Yeah, I think what these people are doing, the scam that Cox is running, it is detrimental to people's lives. Like, anybody who prescribes to their service, they are paying money and they might not be able to, like, use the internet when they might absolutely need to. This is going to impede on people's lives. Why isn't this company sued, by the way? Like, why? Why are these people allowed to operate? Why aren't they sued? They are thieves, like, they absolutely should be sued. Either way, now that I got that out of the way, I don't know, I would like to make more videos like these. I don't know, let me see. And I was thinking of watching a lot of Hassan Abi's videos, on Taco Calls. Now, I don't know, shit's sorta getting, old. I'm just gonna look at fucking anything. What do I want to look at? Let's see. By the way, I know that I'm like, I tend to repeat myself a lot. All that shit. Like, when I speak on my live stream, tends to be, yeah, like, as if I don't know what I'm saying. As if I'm honestly higher than I am. Because even when I'm not high, I tend to have this problem a lot where I'm just rambling on and on. I'm not really saying anything. I'm saying one thing, but I'm taking like an hour to say it if it's be supposed to take 5 minutes or some shit. Like, I need to work on that, okay? Basically, I don't really talk to anyone, like, fucking ever. I sort of just live in my room, to be honest, so... Yeah, I don't really talk to anyone, when I, like, yeah, I guess a lot of the time, when I speak, I just start, just start fucking saying shit and just go back over it again. I hope that, with, what's it called? I hope I could practice my way out of that, start, speaking more normally. All that shit, start sounding more natural when I speak, you know? Like, yeah, it takes, let's see. Ben Shapiro destroyed Confederates. Jesus Christ, and with a fucking conservative ad on a conservative video. Yeah, Matt Walsh is, I mean, I don't think he's a bad person, but I think his message is, well, pure poison. I think he should at least try to be more open-minded. Like, if he's legit gonna revolve his entire channel around just doubting an entire group, like a subgroup of like the people around him, just legit making a channel based off of just doubting them, saying, "Oh well, no, they're actually wrong about." Like I don't really get this shit. It's like you should learn to take people at their word sometimes. Maybe think, hey, if even if they might disagree with me, even if I might not like how they think, like even if I might not like all this, who knows? Like maybe it's not just, oh well, they disagree with me, they must be fucking retarded. At least understand why they might disagree with you instead of being like, oh well, they disagree with me, they must be stupid. If you don't even understand what angle they came from, like people don't just decide to say things it's because it's just complete bullshit. People don't just say things because it's bullshit while you're just saying things because they're true and others are just, well, who knows what's wrong with them. No, everybody, if they're saying something, it's not because, oh well, they just want you to believe that. People aren't like that in general. People, when the average person opens their mouth to say something, it's not to try to convince you that what they're saying isn't a lie because this kid they'll find out. So yeah, I think Matt Walsh should actually try to like maybe talk more to like experts on this. Try to open his mind, because when you see gay people, for example, it's like people I'm pretty sure people used to be like, oh yeah, gayness isn't really a thing. uh like yeah, they're just grooming our kids into being gay or whatever. It's like, if you don't believe that sex and gender are different, I mean, why would sex and gender be different? Why would someone be born like physically like a man and feel different in their brain? What sense would that make? Well, what sense would it make for people to be gay? I mean, maybe intuitively it's like, huh, that's sort of weird, but like it's just what's it called? Yeah, why are some people born with one arm instead of two? Why does that happen? Well, clearly it happens if people are telling you, hey, I'm gay, or hey, I'm trans, like my gender is different than I have gender dysphoria. Like, why would you assume, oh, either you're lying to me because you have a fetish, fucking somehow, or uh, you're just what's it called? Or you're just delusional. Like someone just put that in your head, brainwashed you. Like the average person isn't that easy to brainwash. Like, how do you brainwash someone into thinking, oh, I feel like it. And it's sort of like the gay thing. Can you brainwash someone into being gay? And I'd imagine the reason why if someone tells you I'm gay, you might not question it. It's like, yeah, you see them making out and all that. It's like, okay, if you see a gay guy making out with another gay dude, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna guess that they're gay. I wouldn't really do that, like because I'm straight. Yeah, if they're doing that type of stuff, yeah, okay. I guess they're probably fucking gay. Um, if a trans person changes their sex, legit just changes from a man to a to a woman, goes through the surgeries. Why would anyone who doesn't have gender dysphoria do that? And you could really assimilated back to being gay. Some people might be, oh well, I'm not sure if I'm gay. Any transitions where people might then be like, oh well, I don't know. I sort of regret doing that. I don't know. So on the gay spectrum, I've never really thought about it. This is the first time I'm sort of thinking about this, but like I always thought gay trans, that's a whole separate issue. Like Democrats really love to put them together because homophobia, that's less accepted than transphobia, at least right now. So yeah, if someone's transphobic, we'll just call them homophobic instead of transphobic, just for the sake of it. But like there are obviously, if you're transphobic, that doesn't mean you're homophobic. Like there are differences. I get, of course, the principles, the ideology, the idea behind why someone might be transphobic would be similar to why someone might be homophobic. They're just not really comfortable with it. It seems sort of weird. Like, what's someone's like a guy attracted to guys? Like, what? Wait, so how do they have kids and stuff? Like, what? Yeah, that type of stuff. Oh, you look like a girl in front of me. I've always seen you as a girl. You're telling me you're a man? Like, I know you as a girl, but yeah, that can sort of fuck with people's minds, and people can feel uncomfortable with that. And that's sort of why religion is there, to shield you from things you might not feel very comfortable with, but mostly from things people back in the day didn't really feel comfortable with. So yeah, the times are changing. The Bible's being updated with science now. But yeah, I think on this transgender thing, to explain people who might transition then like regret it. I don't know, like since there are so many similarities, I just really thought of that between gay and trans. Like some people might think, oh yeah, I'm gay, then you realize, oh actually I'm sort of bi. Like oh no, I'm more straight than bi. Some people might I don't know. I've heard that somewhere that sometimes you change more to being more gay or more straight if you're bisexual, like over time. I have no idea. Like, I could perfectly well imagine, since some people claim to be gender fluid, or what, apparently that's like somewhere in the middle. Yeah, maybe some of these trans people, they might just be starting to realize that they have some fucking like yeah, they have some issues regarding like gender and sex not aligning, but then they might like start saying, oh well, I'm a woman, but then they might be like, oh no, I'm actually more man than a woman. It's not like people being bi, like they might always think they're straight because that's how we're raised to think everyone is sometimes. I don't know, because most people just are that way. What's the point of explaining to kids, hey, gay people, oh, okay, good for fucking them, they exist. Yeah, we exist too, yeah, we know. So, what the fuck was I saying based off that? Dude, I really need to, work on getting this shit, yeah, articulating myself better, if you will, for like yeah, whenever these kids get older, they might realize, oh well, my sexual orientation isn't exactly what I thought it was, and they might think, oh yeah, I'm gay, I'm sort of attracted to this fucking guy. Then they might realize, oh no, I'm actually more. Thing is, I don't know. I just actually thought of that on the spot. I don't know why I thought of that on the spot, but like, yeah, I mean, sounds stream, good thing. But Matt Walsh should maybe try thinking about all that type of thing. Like, he is an everyday activist against the trans movement. These are just critical thinking questions that one who might be against that movement should ask of themselves. And it's like same thing with people who are constantly calling conservatives racist, you're racist, like, you should think about that. Are these people really racist? Yeah, I think if they looked on that topic, they would find, no, Tucker Carlson's not a racist. I just didn't really, think about what the fuck I was saying.
For people who cannot fight for themselves and shouldn't have to.
Public schools covered up the rape of a 14-year-old girl.
Yeah, people get raped way more often in churches than at drag queen events. Like, I'm sorry, but if you can get one person who, oh yeah, this one person got raped by a trans person in a public bathroom. Yeah, it turns out a drag queen events, which are, like, the most targeted type of thing revolved around, trans people, was, like, yeah, the trans movement. Conservatives are sort of framing it to be, like, yeah, just, adults who are pedophiles with a fetish, just trying to get kids by, like, yeah, it's a sexual thing, apparently, somehow. I don't really get it, and, like, who knows, maybe some adults have fetishes for that. Who knows, God knows where the fuck that came from, right? And it's like, yeah, they just, have this ideology that if you're trans, either someone indoctrinated you into it because they were pedophile groomer weirdos and stuff like that. Either you're one of them. So yeah, either you're brainwashed or you, like, the trans community is a good bit of people. It's not like, I don't know, how big is the KKK? Yeah, if the KKK and the trans community were about as big, okay, sure, yeah, maybe these people are retards, but you won't see the KKK be as big as the trans movement. As much as CNN might want you to think that because they want to make the next race war so that they can clickbait it, that's just not the case because most people are good people. So you have that type of shit, the trans movement, where conservatives just completely misframe them. Thing is, that especially when you have such a huge amount of people telling you, yeah, my sexuality and my sex don't align, these people are then making the effort of transitioning. Why would someone do that if they don't really feel that way? If they're just doing it to shut you up? Would someone put that much effort into shutting you up? Oh, well, you can't really tell me, hey, I'm not even really committed to this thing. I'm not going all the way with. Well, you can't even tell me that because I went all the way with it. Would someone really do that to themselves, for a talking point? Permanently, as conservatives try to say this is, conservatives try to say, yeah, puberty blockers. It's funny how they'd say puberty blockers. Like, one thing that is definitely not, permanent, they will call that, though I need to make sure my stream is good. Alright, yeah, they'll call that permanent. But conservatives are really into the idea that, into pushing the narrative that, fucking out, that these transitioning things, I mean, that just puberty blockers, which we actually also give to people who aren't transitioning, like people who are, like children who are hitting puberty too early, like, say, that type of stuff, like, to make sure they can finish their childhood, not start puberty at 9 or something. So yes, it's not just something we give to trans people, by the way, and it has always worked fine. This is not an experiment on our generation, nor with the vaccines, by the way, but, yeah, if you're going to say that these things are permanent, why would someone do that to their own body just for a talking point? And it's like, for all they know, they might not even believe in that thing anymore. Who knows, within 10 years, that movement could be dead. And now their generals are destroyed. Like, wouldn't you expect someone to think more before they'd make that type of decision under your logic, where, like, this isn't an actual ideology, this is just deception, or, yeah, this is just deception and people being deceived? Like, if you're going to go with the angle, well, they're just too stupid to think straight about that. Well, you can't just assume that. You can't just assume that based on nothing. People are telling you that their sex and gender are different. So like when people are telling you, yeah, I'm attracted to guys. Like, yeah, it would make just as much sense for someone legit when the whole reason behind being attracted to people, it's sorta just the fact that we reproduce. That's why the majority of people are straight. It is a we can very easily relate attraction and reproduction. Like you aren't necessarily attracted to someone because you want to have a fucking baby with them, but that's sort of how that's sort of the thing behind why we are attracted to each other. Like we are attracted to each other because reproduction is a part of the animal kingdom and we're animals. So if we were asexual beings, like we wouldn't be attracted to each other. That would just not make sense. So based on that principle, how would it make any sense for people to be gay? Like, what intuitive sense would that make? Since the whole like reason why we're attracted to each other, like the whole reason behind that is reproduction, and these people clearly they can't reproduce. Well, why are some people born with one arm? Clearly, yeah, we evolved to have two arms that's like best suited for us. Well, yeah, being straight also is best suited for us. If you're gay, I'm sorry to say, but no, I wouldn't want to be gay. I would hate to be gay. Because firstly, yeah, I live in the present where discrimination against gay people is a big thing. So, yeah, no, just for the fact that there's discrimination against a group, I might prefer not to be in that group. It's not that I hate that group, it's just that I recognize that it just isn't favorable to be in that group, at least not right now. And it also will not be favorable to be in that group as long as the majority of people are not in that group. So, yeah, if you're gay, chances are no matter how attractive you may be, pretty much anybody who you might fall in love with, you can expect that they will never like you back. Do straight people have that curse put on them? No, because the majority of people are straight too. So if you're straight and you fall in love with someone and you decide like to ask them out, like you don't have to worry about, oh well, pretty much all odds are they aren't gonna be attracted to me. So yeah, I wouldn't wanna be in any of that, but yeah, again, why would people choose to put themselves into this situation? Why are people killing themselves over this? Why is this happening? It's like, you have to think about this. And it's so obvious that any time you watch Matt Walsh, he's sort of thinking backwards from what he has to say. Like, he makes up his mind, and based on what his mind is, he will make up an explanation for, like, whoever he's responding to. Like, he'll just work backwards from his fucking conclusion. But he already has his conclusion in mind. It's like, you're gonna make your whole life revolved around this. Might be more productive if you at least challenge your own views. Like, not as a joke, like, actually seriously challenge your own views. Think, hey, what if I'm wrong? Maybe I am wrong.
Boy wearing a skirt. They arrested the father of the victim. Students are being exposed to pornography in schools.
One book describes a 4th grade boy performing oral sex on an adult male.
The transgender stuff.
Does that have anything to do with the transgender community? Is that person even gay or trans? And why does it matter? Like, again, I don't know why this is the case, but apparently in churches, sexual assault happens a lot more than drag queen events where these gay people and queer and what's it called, trannies and all. Apparently they all gather over there, and people are really ever assaulted or raped over there. But in churches, so where's this coming from? When you're doing this, oh, look at this person got raped in a bathroom. Do you know of anybody who's been raped in your bathroom? Do you know any trans people? Or maybe, do you know anybody who's been raped by them? Do you know, how many people do you know who have been raped? How many of these people have been raped by trans people? I mean, you could argue, oh, well, most people aren't trans, so, like, if you say, oh, well, there's a random rapist, what's the chance he's trans? Well, you're saying that trans people are pedophiles, either pedophiles or people who have been brainwashed by pedophiles. So you'd expect, like, that type of stuff to come a lot from him. No, it didn't come from there. So, when you're doing this thing with, oh, well, these trans people, look at this, situation with, sexual assault that involved a trans person, you're just doing George Floyd all over again. You're acting like CNN, where they were like, oh, well, you see this stupid white cop who assaulted this black guy, he even killed him. Yeah, you know what police brutality is, actually? It is, yeah, it's a white police officer just committing violence against a black guy. And, yeah, all police are brutal, all police are violent. And, guess what that became? That became a movement of fuck all police officers. Like, why are you doing this? You're doing the exact opposite of what CNN did. Like, aren't you, going to learn from how shitty they are that, hey, maybe this isn't the type of shit we want to do, you know? Like, deceiving the public, being like, well, you know what, this sort of happens somewhere, so this is how everybody is. No, you're just doing George Floyd again. If you can find one clip, or 2-3 clips of people, who, like, if you could find 2-3 clips of, violence happening within the context that would fit your agenda, such as a trans person committing violence on a cis person or on a child, if you're like trying to go with this thing. Or on the other side, look at this white cop who assaulted a black person. Yeah, the country is huge. A lot of things happen. A lot of good and bad people live there. A lot of good and bad people do good and bad things on a daily basis. Yeah, the police, they sort of have a gun there for a reason. They know that the other person might become violent. Some of them aren't good at their job. What do you want to know? Some of them might even be racist. Again, this country is a pretty damn big country. When you show one clip or one anecdote of, hey, yeah, this one person did this and did that way. Yeah, I could even find 2 or 3 people. That doesn't mean shit. Didn't you learn anything from CNN? CNN was like, oh, well, look at this stupid white guy. He's a fucking criminal. What does that say about your race, huh? You're doing the same thing. Why are you fucking doing that? You can't call out CNN for spreading white supremacy, for trying to bring back this dead fucking meme that's now, like, legit at the same fucking... Like, dude, you can't criticize people for trying to bring back white supremacy by fear-mongering over it and pretending it's a real thing by showing these random anecdotal clips, called them out for trying to start a race war, and then just do the exact same thing with trans people. Like, no, that's sort of hypocritical. You can't fucking do that. Alright, yeah, my stream's still running well. Yeah, I didn't think I'd have anyone.
It's just demonic. We are talking about things they don't want to talk about. a man cannot
Fuck Matt Walsh. It's fucking hilarious.
become a woman cannot become a man.
Gender-affirming health
Okay, are you trans, buddy? Do you know
care is a
that?
euphemism. It is taking your sex and it is denying it. It is pretending your sex does not exist.
It was about
No, it's just saying that your sex and your gender are different.
4 years ago when
I mean, look, if you're going to revolve your channel like Matt Walsh does around talking about this issue, you have to know that type of stuff. You can't make these mistakes. Like, Ben Shapiro, yeah, of course. But, like,
I first
Matt
posed
Walsh, you should know this type of stuff. Alright? Like, how long has it been that you've just been talking about trans people? Just non-stop. What do you know about trans people? Like, shouldn't you know pretty much everything about them by now? Why you still, I don't know, I feel like if he knew more about trans people, like, if he actually tried to be an expert in his field, because that is his field, that's all he talks about. Like, he's the fucking transness show. He talks about transness more than anybody else. Yeah, shouldn't you at least, try to look into your field, be open-minded? What if you're wrong? I mean, yeah, I don't get...
What is a woman? What is a woman? What is a woman?
That's a great question.
we have exposed Vanderbilt's child mutilation practices. We're gonna pass.
Thing is, people, even pretty big people have answered that question on YouTube. A lot of people have explained, here's what a woman is. And, again, it's pretty simple. Like, I didn't even need it. I remember that was the first thing I thought when I saw this movie. I was like, Jesus Christ, people just don't fucking understand, how, like, yeah, a woman is, well, how would you define a woman if trans people didn't exist? Well, just define it that way and say women are, well, this, as well as someone who would, identify as, a woman because they have gender dysphoria. So a woman is, well, what a woman would be if gender dysphoria wasn't a thing. And it also is someone who feels that way in their mind. So, someone who has that as their gender. So yeah, what is the definition of a woman? It's like, has a vagina, I guess. Fuck it, I'll just say someone who has a vagina. That is a woman, sure, okay. It's someone who was born with the ability to get impregnated by Donald Trump, okay? Let's just say that's what a woman is, okay? And let's add to that, people who would feel in their minds in the same way as the average person who would be able to get impregnated by Donald Trump. That was the thing. And thing is, with that you'll be like, well, how do they feel? How do women feel? Conservatives like this have often spoken about this. How women and men, yeah, they are different. In fact, so it's not a status quo right-wing idea that men and women aren't fundamentally different in how they think and how, I mean, like, a lot of things, like, on a brain level, yes, sex and race are very different. Like, yeah, women and men aren't the same on a mental level, whereas black people and white people, they are. So yeah, transracial, that makes no sense, because your race only manifests as a physical property, but your gender doesn't only manifest as a physical property. So if you have a mental disorder like gender dysphoria, and these things, like what being a woman versus a man would be on a neurological basis, yeah, it would just make sense that, like, if you have some mental disorder, that stuff can be changed. And it's sort of the same thing as being gay. Yeah, you have a mental disorder, you're not attracted to the same people that, like, yeah, your attractions aren't aligned with, like, how reproduction is supposed to work. Yeah, and don't give me that bullshit, by the way. Being gay isn't a disorder. Okay, can you reproduce if you're gay? Not really. Can you, yeah, it's a disorder. Your mind isn't working, like, in the way that it would be designed to be. Guess what? People who are gifted, so people who are, like, smarter than average, say that stuff. Yeah, that is a mental disorder, being smarter than average. In that case, it works in your favor. In the case of being gay, well, you can't have a kid. Some people want that. I'd argue that's better for society because, well, these people are going to have to adopt kids, and kids need to be adopted. So, that's it. But, yeah, just like being gay, well, what sense does that make? Well, it doesn't really make much sense because the whole point, the whole basis behind being attracted to one another is the fact that we are organisms that reproduce. If we didn't, no one would be attracted to one another. So, yeah, I found
it's going to be illegal in this state. That's going to happen.
We have made sexual indoctrination of children and medical child abuse enormous national issues.
We're not going to rest until every child is protected from this madness.
From this madness. Yeah, it's all about kids. Like, I think these people should just say what they want to say. What they're all saying is trans people should not be allowed to be staff at school. Trans people should not be allowed to teach in public schools. Every time there's a trans person teaching, you don't even get into, well, you're just like, hey, there's a trans person teaching these little kids. That's wrong. And they'll just be like, oh, well, that's sexual exploitation of children. Okay, so okay, let's say trans people getting to teach little kids in public school. Yeah, that's sexual exploitation of kids. Okay, let's go with that. So what is your conclusion from there? Your conclusion is, well, therefore trans people shouldn't be allowed to be teachers. It's demonstrably what the argument is. I don't know why they don't just say it. Just be straightforward with what you want. I mean, when every time you're just showing a kid, oh, well, look at this trans person around a kid, and that's all you're saying. You're not adding, like, oh, it's bad, no, like, it's clear that every time the problem that you have is that this person is trans, and that there are kids around, that they're teaching these kids, so it is, from what they are saying, there's no other conclusion to reach. It's not like, oh, well, you're not giving them the most charitable interpretation of what, well, you don't know what they're saying. You don't know that's what they mean. Did they say that? Like, that's what I'd say with people who, would be called racist. Okay, well, give me the clip of them saying, I hate black people. You're saying they hate black people? Okay, show me the clip of them denouncing specifically black people. Otherwise, you're full of shit. Oh, this person's racist? Where did they say fuck black people? Oh, nowhere? The difference here is, like, with fucking hell, I'm still fucking high, dude. With, people making these supposedly racist arguments, they're not making it on the basis of race. They're explaining it in a different way. And their issue is never, like, the issue that these conservatives have that liberals will tend to call them racist for, their argument is never on the basis of race. Like, it's always on the basis of someone that is colorblind. It's like, oh yeah, these people, they're nationalists. Okay, they're racist. No, the nationalist position has nothing to do with race. Like, legit nothing. Oh, well, these people... Oh, Tucker Carlson believes that the Mexicans get... Yeah, illegal immigrants are gonna replace, Americans. Oh, so basically what Tucker Carlson's saying is that, oh yeah, we're going to get he believes in this great replacement, that, oh yeah, he thinks that white people are going to be replaced by Jews and black people. That's really what he's saying. And when people say that, the obvious response is, no, you are objectively wrong, because, oh, what he's saying is white people are going to be replaced by the Jews and the black. Okay, well, give me the proof that every American is white, give me the proof that every Mexican is Jewish, and give me the proof that every Mexican is also black. You have none. Case fucking closed. If, what Tucker is saying by, the like Americans will be replaced by immigrants, if you're going to say that this has anything to do with race, if you can attribute the adjective racist to that statement, you have to explain you have to break down what they're saying and explain why that statement suggests black people are inferior to white people. One race is inferior to a different race, or one race should have different race, which is the definition of racism. Explain how that statement, explain how what that statement is saying is, so, yeah, when people say, immigrants, are all Europeans black? No. Are all Chinese people black? No. Immigrants has nothing to do with race. Immigrants come of all races. People in America, Americans are not all white, so, yeah, nothing to do with race. We can move past that when it's just a straw man. But with this type of stuff, it's like, yeah, what you are saying is, I have a problem with this happening. What do you see? Well, let's look at the picture. Well, what do you have here? You have kids. What do you have here in the middle of these? You have a teacher. Do you see the problem with this picture? Yeah, the teacher's trans. Kids are being groomed. They, like, all you are saying with this is basically what all conservatives pushing this anti-trans narrative, that, like, that is how they frame their own segment. You see these kids, and you see this teacher is trans, that is wrong, our kids are being groomed. There was nothing else, there was no other analysis of that you can have other than, yeah, these people's logical conclusion is trans people shouldn't have the right to teach in public schools, at least in public schools. So, why? Why shouldn't they have the right? Is that a fair thing to ask? Because, like, this is really what you're saying. At least ask it straight out front so we can update the conversation. Okay, so that is what you're... Okay, what then? Explain, why should all trans people... Why should trans people not be allowed to teach kids? And how about, well, based on your argument, the trans community is made up of the groomers and the people who have been, the people who have been brainwashed and groomed. Okay, so on this basis, you're saying that the trans, surgeries, you're saying that stuff is permanent. Yeah, puberty blockers. Once people undergo surgery, they are making this one-time choice. They can't go back on it. That is the status quo, anti-trans position. The process by which you transition, it's irreversible. All right-wingers will say this. Okay, so if the trans community is made up of both pedophile groomer weirdos, as well as this huge amount of like kids who are being indoctrinated into this. In fact, y'all talk about it all the time. Oh, they're turning off kids. Okay, so imagine if you are like on that basis, if someone is brainwashed into becoming trans, they take the surgery, like that's it, they'll be trans forever. So are you saying that if someone was brainwashed by a creep and was taken advantage of and like sexually exploited, if this person dreamed of one day becoming, say, a teacher, just because they were sexually exploited when they were children, in the future they shouldn't be allowed to teach schools? Like, this is why you need to say what you really think. Just get to the point. Your point is trans people shouldn't be allowed to teach in schools. Yeah, there are arguments to have against that. You just need to make it clear that that is your position. And you can't really make it clear, just say it. I disagree with it, but I'm not gonna view it say, oh, well, look at what they said, look at what... Okay, like, that's what you believe. Okay, well, you say you believe that, I'll take you at your word. I'm not... Just like I believe trans people when they might say, yeah, my gender and my sex are different. Okay, you say so, you're even transitioning, that shows how committed you are to it. Clearly you're not lying to me. Yeah, if these conservatives, they will spread these bigoted things, they will keep fucking saying it, they will keep doubling down and down and down. They'll keep spreading it. Yeah, clearly they believe it. Like, this transphobic message, it's not even that popular, honestly. Like, of course, transphobia is a big problem because loud minority, but, yeah, by being transphobic, most people, especially in the north, I'd imagine, are going to be repulsed. They're gonna be like, fuck you. Like, this is the most oppressed class. There's literally an epidemic of trans people killing themselves because, like, this is the, oppressed class of the year. Gay people, okay, like, that was a bit... Oh, black people, that's even back further. Like, if you claim you're an oppressed group because you're black in 2023, shut the fuck up, LMAO. But, yeah, trans people, that's a big thing, and the trans community is actually getting hurt by this. People in the trans community are fucking killing themselves and shit over that, so... Yeah, transphobia is seen as very damaging, very destructive these days, so... Yeah, if these people are going to keep pushing a message that will get them hated, yeah, I guess I believe that I'll take them at their word. They aren't just saying that because, oh, well, they know it's hateful, they know it's wrong, and they're just saying it because it gets them money, or because... Oh, well, they just like saying horrible things. They know it's horrible, they just like it because conservatives do that. But yeah, just actually say what your position is, then we can discuss it. Because there are issues like that. Like, if you're going to say trans people shouldn't be teachers, you're saying that if trans people grew... Because according to the right, trans people... is really a community that is made up of victims and predators. So are you going to like, are you going to say victims and predators shouldn't like, how do you distinguish too? You have to go more into specifics. Just saying, oh, well, look at this trans person, she teaching like, no, that doesn't really cut it. Oh, well, look at this trans person somewhere in this huge country, I don't know, assaulting, yeah, raping somebody. As if rape didn't happen all over. Oh, well, look, somewhere in the country, one person committed rape and they're trans. You're doing George Floyd all over again. No, we shouldn't put up with this. They're doing exactly what CNN are doing. They're trying to pull CNN on us. They're trying to go with the George Floyd type. Oh, well, you see this one white trash piece of shit that Well, by the way, yeah, that guy was a murderer, but oh, you see this one fucking white cop. Yeah, look at this white cop killing a look at this white police officer killing a black citizen. You know this could happen to you. You know it's probably going to happen to you. In fact, yeah. If you see this and you don't take action, if you don't help me start this new race war we're trying to start, well, don't be surprised when this happens to you, because they're coming for you next. Okay, you see George Floyd? Well, just look out your window. There's probably another George Floyd just fucking getting just getting kneeled on right outside your front door. Like, who fucking knows, dude? Yeah, this is the same shit. You're assuming because you can find the one anecdote of something that is pretty rare happening because, well, in a pretty big fucking place, rare things will be happening pretty frequently overall. Yeah, if you take whichever ones of those actually fit your narrative of, say, transphobia for like Fox News and the Daily Wire, racism for CNN. CNN has a racist fucking what's it called? Yeah, fucking out. Yeah, CNN has a racist fucking agenda, has a racist narrative to push. Like, dude, that's the same thing. You're fear-mongering, and you're deceiving people. Why are you doing that?
This whole idea of freedom of speech and this conversation is very important to me, and I'm glad to have you on to talk.
Damn, like, he actually had Ben Shapiro on. Dude, I remember in, like, a left-wing event, literally, like, fucking apologized because Ben Shapiro, fucking happened to exist over there for a while. Oh, he showed up. Nothing even, like, it's not even as if he wasn't allowed to show up. Nothing actually referring to it. It's not as if he was banned from whatever that was. So, yeah, like, he showed up.
This
damn,
whole idea of freedom of speech and this conversation is very important to me, and I'm glad to have you on to talk about it. So what started out as a neo-Nazi murder in Charlottesville and the president's failure to denounce Nazi and white supremacists exploded into a discussion in this country about the removal of Confederate statues. Have we gotten away from the point of what happened in Charlottesville, what it was really about?
And it seems to me we clearly have.
Like, I don't think it matters. It's just sort of like, oh, well, get rid of the fact that you have to check in the race boxes anyway. You should not have to check that anyway. And it's like, yeah, I definitely Harvard and stuff, like, these people are absolute, like, they're absolute racists. They literally, get people into their, they accept people into their college on a basis of race. So, like, from what I've heard in school, like, organizations like Harvard, for some reason, they're allowed to do this. Yeah, Jim Crow is long gone. This isn't, though. Talking about, yeah, racism against black people being today, and racism against white people being non-existent. Okay, yeah, so, yeah, what Harvard does, they will make you check in the box, but they'll actually use this testimony of your race for or against you, depending on whether you are the supreme black race, which is what they consider black people, or whether you are white trash, which is what they consider white people. I'm pretty sure either Oxford, one place like that, literally decided, oh yeah, instead of calling people Karen, which Karen, that is an insult, yeah, they started saying entitled white lady. Yeah, so you are using white as an insult. You are using white in your new official fucking replacement of an insult. Imagine if we did that the other way around. Like, imagine if we did that. Yeah, but thing is, my point is, they obviously shouldn't be allowed to discriminate based on race, if it's, I mean, if they're private companies, I think they should. If they're private companies, they want to have Jim Crow, they want to have, what's it called, affirmative action, like, they want to have all that sort of stuff. Like, if you don't want to have black people in your house, if you don't want to have white people in your house, like, yeah, you're an asshole, but it's your house, just like your business. Well, okay, you're an asshole, but it's your fucking business. So, yeah, if I want to leave, I could just fucking leave. No one's stopping me. But, just tipping the boxes, like, oh, well, people shouldn't be allowed to ask to tip the boxes. I think that's sort of virtue signaling. Same thing with the Confederate statues. It's like, yeah, some things in history is full of terrible things, and you should expect that if you're making progress in the positive direction. Yeah, history is going to be filled with negative things. Now, I don't care, like, if these Confederate statues are removed, like, I don't care, and I can honestly understand the appeal. Like, if you're around these types of places, and you're, like, black or something, and all the time you're gonna have to move around and just fucking see people, who are, like, these big fucking statues just looking down at you, and you know they were just put there, they can be removed, and these people literally represent, like, enslaving you. And dude, the better example I was gonna, I think this is the same thing as liberal sort of virtue signaling about, oh, well, in public school, you say the Pledge of Allegiance, and, like, everyone stands up for the pledge, and you say, one nation under God. Uh-huh. What about on the bill, on the fucking dollar bill and shit, there's written, in God we trust. Is the state really detached from religion, dude? Bruh, I don't know, dude. And it's like, Jesus Christ, you're just fucking virtue signaling. Like, oh, you have to say under God. Well, wow, big fucking deal. Yeah, I did it every day. I was atheist. I didn't care. I sort of think it's the same thing here. Like, this doesn't really have an impact on your life. I could sort of get, like, if you're around these Confederate statues all the time, the fact that they purely represented, like, you being enslaved and shit, and they're just up there looking down at you, I could sort of, I could definitely understand the appeal. Like, I personally don't think like, I don't care. Like, if I was president, I wouldn't do it because I'd probably just have more important things to do. But, yeah, like, people who think, oh, well, this is just part of history. Like, history isn't all good. Like, that's why we try to make progress in the right direction, so that we can look back on history and say, hey, shit, I'm glad we're living in today's time and not back then. Yeah, that's sort of what history is supposed to represent. If we're keeping these statues, we aren't necessarily glorifying what happened. It's all like, okay, so do you think history shouldn't be allowed to be taught because you're glorifying slavery? So, yeah, I mean, I guess, since I'm sort of looking at this, I'm gonna give my take on it. I've never really had a position, but I guess if I had to have one, like, yeah, that'd sort of be my position on Confederate statues, but my main position is, like, I don't care, do whatever you want. It's not really important.
And I think that was the point of the alt-right and the white supremacists seizing on an issue that they know that there's actually broad public consensus on not moving a lot of these statues. There's a Quinnipiac poll that came out today showing that 50 to 39 Americans aren't big on the idea of moving all these statues out. So they seized on an issue that they think is a winning issue for them and then tried to broaden out their appeal that way. And I think a lot of folks on the left fell for it. They want to have this discussion anyway, and so they saw the opportunity to have this discussion. But it seems like a misdirection from what actually happened in Charlottesville. The issue in Charlottesville is white supremacy, not whether some people think that statues should come down or stay up, because clearly 50% of the American population.
Wait, like, in Charlottesville, weren't they saying the Jews will not replace us? So wouldn't that be anti-Semitism? I mean, again, I don't know them. I just know Tucker Carlson, like, personally. So I can definitely say, yeah, I know him well enough to know, okay, he's not a racist. I don't know these people. Like, for all I know, that could be a KKK rally just happening to talk about the Jews. I have no idea.
Doesn't want to keep these statues up just because they're a bunch of white supremacist racists.
Did liberals get played by President Trump?
I think pretty clearly they definitely fell for what was, whether he plans it or not, a trap for the left. I mean, he said...
I mean, what's the context behind this? Did liberals get played by... Did Donald Trump, like, promise to take down the statues and not... What's the context?
You guys don't have a limiting principle. You're going to go after statues of George Washington or Christopher Columbus or Thomas Jefferson, and now you're seeing that actually happen on the left. The most obvious stupid case is this banning of this.
Yeah, I don't think people should take down the statues of George Washington. Right? It's pretty obvious. George Washington didn't stand for slavery. Like, that is not what that isn't the overall thing that he stood for. Like, okay, Ben Shapiro maybe he's transphobic. Should he go down in history as transphobic? Is that everything he believes? Like, yeah, maybe if down the line with more trans people and they would be like, oh yeah, statue of Matt Walsh, we don't really like that. It's like, okay, but a statue of Ben Shapiro? It's like, come on. This wasn't even the core of his... And George Washington, this racist thing that... Like, that's not what his legacy is. That is not what he's known for. That is not the assimilation most people make when they think of George Washington. They don't think of, oh, the guy who was a slave owner. When people think of Jesus, they don't think of, oh, this guy who actually was in favor of slave owning, which, by the way, he was. There's a section in the Bible saying that... like, yeah, being in favor of... It's like, yeah, that is not, what George Washington was known for, what he is recognized and appreciated for to this day, is setting up the system that is, well, our government to be able to become what it has now become. So, yeah, all of these things... such as desegregation, all that. How was all that stuff possible? How were we able to move on to having such a system? Well, it's because our founding fathers, they might have had different ideologies than us. They might have been racist. Yeah, of course they would. That was a thing back then. But they recognized that, yeah, with time, people can change and the status quo can change. And whenever things get different, they shouldn't be the ones who get to choose for their people what they want. And that is the most important thing. That is the main thing that he did. That is what he represents. He represents making sure that, like, as much as we today may disagree with him back then, he wanted to make sure that us today would also get our chance to, well, have the country the way we want it now instead of the way he wanted it then. So, he might have been racist, but he acknowledged that this might be a flaw. We might make progress with time, and yeah, when we're ready for that progress, he made sure we'd be able to let our society adapt to that progress, desegregate, do all that stuff. He enabled that system by which you can, by which all these things that were bad back then, we were able to change them for the better. But yeah, if any person who exists today was born, like, around George Washington back in their day, all of them would be racist. Like, just because he existed in a different time span, he was indoctrinated with different beliefs. Some people go hunting. They commit murder. Some people commit murder for the fun of it. I am willing to bet within the next few generations, since humans are overall a species of empathy, humans are overall good, yeah, we will inevitably progress towards this stuff being recognized for what it is. And, yeah, but as of now, things like hunting, that's considered, in our society, yeah, that's just a thing. It's not even a crime. some people may consider it as morally reprehensible, but it's definitely not considered a, you just committed a murder. Like, you shouldn't have the right to exist in our society anymore. You shouldn't have the right to be around anybody. You should be in jail. Well, since that whole philosophy around murder is wrong hasn't already like developed into our culture, that's not the way we think, and therefore that's not the way we raise people to think. And so when we raise people to think, oh yeah, hunting, that's just a sport, they will do it as a sport. When you raise people to think, oh yeah, women, they're just property, yeah, they'll just do that. If you were raised that way, you wouldn't think you wouldn't think twice about it, because like what incentive would it, like, what are you talking about? Why would I think of, like, this property? Should I be able to like, your critical thinking skills have to come into the way for you to be able to dismantle these bad beliefs. But we're sort of indoctrinated with these types of things in our minds. So when you're going to say someone should be taken down, someone who is known for a good thing that they did, just because yeah, they also happened to have these beliefs that don't really represent their legacy, that they were indoctrinated into. Yeah, motherfucker, we all have beliefs that we are indoctrinated into. I'm sure a lot of things we do today, in the future, we might be all seen as horrible people for it. We are committing an animal holocaust. We're funding it. Well, what do you think that's gonna be seen as in a few hundred years, pal? What do you think that's gonna be? Yeah. So are all these people just bad people today? It's like, come on. So, yeah, let's see what Ben Shapiro.
Reporter from ESPN named Robert Lee, an Asian guy, from covering an event at University of Virginia. You know, the political correctness of the left is actually driving people into Trump's arms, even though Trump's initial response to Charlottesville and then his Tuesday response to Charlottesville was entirely wrong. I think that one thing that Trump has had, he's just benefited from the fact that the left.
Yeah, I think I remember he said, like, there's good people on both sides, which, like, I mean, yeah, that sounds sort of like a stupid thing to say. Like, I don't think that's inherently racist or fucking anti-Semitic. Like, he might just have thought, oh yeah, like, these people, apparently they support me. They probably supported him. Like, those types of people tended to support the extreme right back then. So, yeah, like, there's a good chance that these people were just demonstrating their support for Trump. I mean, I didn't really follow the whole thing. I don't really know. There's a good chance they did. And then Trump was just like, oh, you know what? These people, they're sort of, like, praising me and stuff. Like, I'd feel sort of bad just condemning them. I mean, like, I saw these people chanting for me. Like, yeah, I'm not... And, of course, that stuff, it's like... yeah, they could be in favor of you and be bad people. Maybe you'll feel more attached to them because they care about you, just like a YouTuber with their fans, I guess. But, like, yeah, and again, people, I would also argue, people can be racist and be good people. They're just indoctrinated into this belief, and they really believe it. They really believe that black people are inferior. It's like, there are some things that are inferior. Like, should pigs have the right to vote? No. Am I a bad person for thinking that? Well, I mean, in fact, it's true, but imagine if a racist person believes, oh yeah, giving a black person the right to vote, that's like giving a pig the right to vote. I mean, of course that stuff is wrong, and when someone says that type of stuff, it's like repulsive, but I mean, if you really believed that, I mean, imagine if you did, you'd just be wrong. Like, that doesn't make you a bad person, you are believing these things. Like, it's not like you know these things are wrong and you still believe and you're still saying them anyway. You know these things are hurtful and no, you genuinely like that's what you really believe. So yeah, you aren't in people's minds. You can't think you can't assume people have bad intentions just because their message is just poison. They might just have their viewpoint just be really confused in their moral views.
Is constantly reacting to everything he says with an enormous level of passion, and I think that that's actually a negative. Even what he did last night insofar as going after the media, because the media reacted, instead of doing objective analysis of where he was not telling the truth, they jumped to extraordinary critiques of his mental health and talking about how he was crazy and how he was morally bereft and all this stuff. All that does is it plays to his crowd. His crowd thinks that the media is out to get him. His crowd thinks that the media have a particular emotional...
Yeah, I wonder, when you have legitimately... I remember, as soon as Trump got onto the political stage, CNN legit turned their platform into a fucking shit-posting fest. Legit every single new video. It's like, don't you get tired of talking about the same person? Don't you get tired of being a degenerate? Imagine if I legit had fucking 10 new videos in a day up on the same person. Yeah, I am literally obsessed with someone I hate, and I am obsessed with talking about them. How much more of a degenerate filth can you get than that, really? Just, you are dedicating your life to literally just obsessing over somebody you hate. You're dedicating your life to obsessing over someone you hate, just constantly fucking talking about them, constantly complaining about them. And it's not even like that person is doing anything really that fucking... It's like most of the stuff, it's like, who cares? Oh, Donald Trump said something stupid again. Oh, who died from that? It's like, don't you have better things to cover? Don't you have people who actually died, for example? Like, things that will impact people's lives. So, yeah, whenever Trump took on the political scene and CNN just completely went down the hole of just shit posting, just fucking pumping cancer, fucking quantity over quality to the max, quantity over quality on steroids, just literally shit post about Trump as often as you can, because, well, who knows, it doesn't really take as much effort to always talk about the same thing, so, yeah, I think, yeah, CNN definitely lost all their reputation with that. Between that and, them trying to revive white supremacy, CNN has lost all their reputation.
For him personally, and so anything that the media do is going to exacerbate that.
Well, two things, and by the way, just because ESPN, I want to get it correct. ESPN has responded, and they're saying they didn't ban the guy's name is Robert.
They moved him off of it.
They didn't ban him. They asked him if he wanted to, and he picked something that was closer to his family. They said that they didn't ban him, and they were looking out for his own interest.
They're trying to take away our culture. They're trying to take away our history. And our weak leaders, they do it overnight.
The media is simply responding to people who are there protesting and to the story of the statues being taken down. The media hasn't called for the statues to be taken down. So I don't understand when he says the media is trying to take away your culture. What is...
Well, I mean, I do think that one of the conservative critiques of the media...
Yeah, they're trying to... It's sort of like... I guess what you could say. I disagree with that point, but how I would say it's more like when CNN are fear-mongering over George Floyd, are they telling you, are they calling for more white police officers to murder more black people? Not explicitly, but they're saying, hey, look, let's get it. We got some ammunition started. Look what we have here. Yeah, we can start a race war here. Look, let's start a race war. You see this happen somewhere? Let's just pretend that it's happening all over the place just because we found the one clip. We're not gonna show stats, we're just gonna show clips. And which clips are we gonna show? We're gonna show fucking random clips and see how often the police officer is white, how often the victim is black, and show, hey, look, we're sort of just showing them at random. See how many more of my... So, yeah, I think you could say sort of the same thing. Like, is CNN explicitly calling for a race war? Are they saying, oh, yeah, like, you see what's happening here? We want more of that. In case, like, this is the only reason we have content to make today, is because this happened. And we're making a huge deal out of this. Yeah, we literally keep talking about it. We accuse a place like Fox News of being white supremacist too, because everyone's gotta be a white supremacist. Oh, but Fox News never talks about white supremacy. They don't care. But you talking about it all the time. So random people, they don't care about white supremacy. They don't talk about it. Oh, so everyone's a white supremacist. Yeah, it's pretty clear what they're trying to do. They're trying to build up the race tensions, and at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, who's going to get more killed? Probably black people. So yeah, CNN isn't explicitly saying we're white supremacists, but that's sort of the rhetoric they're pushing. So I think same thing here. Like, CNN might be calling for action, calling for like a change in the way we see things, and yeah, we
media, and it's been true for as long as I've been alive, and probably before that, is that the media...
But there's no problem with them doing that. Yeah, some people will say our culture is multicultural. Yeah, I think there's definitely a conservative fan base that definitely has a culture related to this very country. I don't care about culture. I don't think culture is... I get being attached to a culture, but I know a lot of things in culture tends to be literal retardation. Like, oh, well, it's my culture to literally purposefully waste my time, like, abiding by these customs that aren't going to help me in any aspect of my life. They aren't going to help me do anything better. It's like, oh, yeah, customs, like, in France, you have to have manners. Like, when you eat at the table, it's literally as if you were playing a musical instrument. Like, oh, you have to have this posture, you have to have this... And it's like, this is literally like the 100 layers of being dropped as a kid on the head challenge. Like, you're adding a posture, like, you're forcing everybody to well, actually, these are people willingly applying things that are disenfranchised, things that just make shit more complicated for them. They are willingly applying these types of things that disenfranchise them onto themselves just for the sake of, just for the virtue of being able to say that they're retarded. Hey, look at me. I am eating. You know that thing eating, which we do sort of to, like, stay alive? Yeah, I'm doing it in that fucking... I'm doing it retard style. I'm, like, taking this exact posture, making myself uncomfortable. Yeah, all that stuff. Like, I'm taking this exact posture and stuff. All that stuff, just so that I can brag about the fact that I'm retarded. It's like, I see that type of shit all over in culture. Like, oh, well, what's my culture? Oh, well, it's to go to church. Oh, well, go to church every week? What, for 1 hour? Did you just waste an hour of your life every week? Okay, bad culture.
Yeah, have an agenda.
Yeah, I feel like most cultures are literally just fucking spray. Just, what's it called? Yeah, they are infested with just brain dead fucking just brain dead habits that you have to take of just sorta... what the fuck, holy shit. This is what I mean when I say I have to learn to fucking articulate myself. Learn to fucking, it's like, dude, I'm getting lost mid-sentence. Like, what the fuck was I just talking about? Dude, this doesn't happen to normal fucking people. I don't know why it happens to me. Legit, all the time, in the middle of a sentence, I just forget what the fuck I was saying. Hey, fuck, dude, I don't know
political
why
agenda, and they hide behind this patina of objectivity in order to press forward this political agenda. You know, Don, you're very passionate.
I mean, to be fair, removing conservative statues, there's nothing productive about that. Like, yeah, no one's going to have a better quality of life because of, I guess they might not get triggered if they're libertarians.
About President Trump's statements about the media last night, and I think some of that was justified, but I think a lot of it actually goes to what his base thinks, which is they think that you have an animus particularly for President Trump, that you have an animus for his agenda on things like Confederate statues. I think you personally probably want to see these Confederate statues come down.
To be fair, the whole Confederate thing is revolved around the South. If I'm hearing this right, the Confederate part of the Civil War, that was the side which was in favor of slavery, and that's all that the Confederacy stands for. It's like the side that took pro-slavery, that took on defending slavery instead of abolishing it. And it's like, yeah, if you're black especially and you have so yeah, you could say, no, I don't have some personally against Trump. I have some personally against people who would have fought for who would have fought to make sure I don't get the right to be a free person. Like, what does that have to do with Trump? No, like, it's personal, but nothing to do with Trump. You can say, no, like, this has nothing to do with Trump. This is something to do with me. I wonder if Don Lemon's gonna make that.
I mean, don't you? Is that true? I mean, I would assume you do.
Listen,
yeah, like Confederate statues. That he has every reason to say, yeah, I have something against that personally because these people stood for like they represented fighting to keep me not a free man. I mean, what does that have to do with the...
I lived in the South for a long time, and to tell you the truth, I knew the statues were there. I was offended by the statues. Whether they should come down, I would leave it up to the individuals. But I do think that they are insulting to people, just as you would you want to see a statue of Hitler as a...
No, I totally understand.
I don't care. I don't care if there's a statue of Hitler. Who the fuck cares? Like, I could just not look at it. That'd be just, like, funny meme. Look, there's Hitler right there. It's like, who the fuck cares? If slavery had just happened, and, like, the people who are alive today, they had the trauma of, like, having had to have lived that type of thing, yeah, that would reflect back on, their life experiences, and when they'd see people who actually fought for making sure they wouldn't get the right to be free, and they had experienced what it was like to not be free, and like they felt firsthand what these people were trying to take from them. I get on that basis, when you have had firsthand experience, being like, yeah, this is what these people were trying to take away from me as I live. These people have done me wrong. I shouldn't have to look at them. But none of these people have done anyone who is alive today any wrong. So, why would you take it so... Like, none of these people hurt any of you or your family members or your loved ones. They only hurt people who were too far in the past for you to be able to know them. So, yeah, there's no reason for you to actually feel personally offended by that. Yeah, like Don Lemon could be like, well, they represented making sure that black people can... Like, every time I look at that, I'm reminded, yeah, this person looking down upon me, who is like, a statue was made of them, yeah, they stood for the idea that yeah, they wouldn't have wanted me to get to be free. That's like that's what they stood for. I get that, but yeah, if you don't have first-hand experience of these things being done to you or to one of your loved ones, it's like, why are you taking it? Why are you so offended by that? If there was a statue of Hitler, it's like, okay, there's a statue of Hitler. If people are very clear, yeah, no, like, we're not leaving these up. The government is so straight about this. No, we're not leaving these up to try to glorify these people. We're not leaving these up to try to say these were the heroes of America. Even if maybe at some point we might have thought of them that way. I'm guessing we must have if we made statues of them. Like, no, these statues can now represent, like, just the fact that these people were once seen as heroes. And just to remember that. Like, so, I don't know what critical race theory is, but a lot of people are saying, well, it's history. So when you're saying you shouldn't ban critical race theory, you're banning it. Okay, well, wouldn't that be sort of the same thing? I mean, no one's going to learn anything from, oh, these Confederate statues are there. If they weren't there, I wouldn't be educated. Same thing for history. Is history anything relevant to the present? No. History is what used to be relevant back when, this sort of shit, fucking dude, Jesus Christ. Yeah. What used to be relevant back when you weren't learning this. So yeah, I don't
understand your point of view. The point
think this is a very, like, very interesting, very important topic.
To go to, which I made earlier, would you want to go to? And listen, we shouldn't pretend that there's this fake objectivity. Everyone has a point of view. It doesn't mean that you're biased. And so, but just to get people to understand.
Yeah, thank you so much for saying that. You don't just have a fake point of view. I wish people said that more. That is so true. Yeah. If people disagree with you, it's not because, oh well, they're just bullshitting you. They just have the fake point of view. I love that term. I should use that more. Yeah, people don't just have a fake point of view. They genuinely believe what they believe, and yeah. Thing is, you should take people. Yeah, I wish more people actually abided by this. Don't just assume that people who disagree with you, people who are repulsing you, don't just assume that they have bad fucking intentions. Don't just assume that they're doing like these. If they're hurting you, for example, don't assume that they are hurting you. Don't assume that they're hurting people because they want to think of themselves as horrible people. That's what they enjoy seeing themselves as. No sense behind that.
And as a Jewish person, you would not want to go to a Hitler high school. Well, that same...
If I was Jewish, I wouldn't care about, like, going to, school that had like, Hitler and stuff. I would think that's fucking hilarious. I would think, like, yeah, that's a funny meme. Yeah, I wouldn't care about a statue of Hitler being up. If there was a statue of Hitler that was up and people decided, oh, well, we want that to be down, again, I wouldn't care. Whether it stays up, whether it goes down. I guess it'd be sort of funny if everyone wanted to take it down and somehow, like, the government with this, like, corruption and shit, they were like, oh, well, that's what you want, well, that's not what we want, so they'll just stay up, then the libtards just have a fucking mental breakdown over the, like, this fucking thing exists, it's not gonna do anything to us, it's basically a rock, but this rock, I don't like this fucking rock, LMAO. It reminds me of getting hurt. It doesn't actually hurt me, but it makes me think about, like, these unpleasant things.
In fact, African Americans, that has the same effect. Robert E. Lee has the same effect on African Americans. And so, and also the Confederate flag. And so I think we have to be understanding of each other. It's not that I don't like the president or have an agenda against the president.
I mean, he doesn't like the president, though, right?
Simply speaking the truth as I see it.
I mean, Yeah, that's I think that's a fair point. It didn't Ben Shapiro destroys. I don't think Don Lemon is really getting destroyed so far. With the destruction.
Okay, so and I totally understand that, but what he's saying and what his people are hearing is he's saying essentially that you do have an agenda in terms of what you think.
Yeah, it sounds more like Don Lemon is pushing back against Ben Shapiro, and Ben Shapiro is sort of like more going on the defense.
Promulgating what you think about Confederate statues. You have a clear point of view on that. That's a perfectly acceptable and I think understandable point of view. But the implication is that you are an objective reporter who's actually propagating a point of view, whatever that point of view may be. I mean, you just said openly that you don't think that your point of view is biased, but your point of view clearly.
Okay, yeah, to be fair, Tucker Carlson will definitely admit he's biased because those are like opinion. But yeah, people like Don. Okay, I sort of get where he's going. Yeah, has Don Lemon ever employed the word disgusting on his platform? I'm sure we hear that from CNN all over the place. I mean, yeah, word like disgusting. Has a liberal used that? I don't know, who knows? Liberal using the word disgusting. I mean, might have heard that somewhere. Did you ever use that on your platform? Well, there you go. That means you are biased. The word disgusting is not objective. If you use the adjective disgusting to describe what something is or how you feel about something, if you're describing something as disgusting, that that gives the implication that you are actually describing how you feel about that. So if you're saying this is disgusting, that translates to I think this is disgusting. So yeah, especially if you say that. If you say I think this is disgusting, yeah, like that's just facts. But if you say this is disgusting, yeah, that's bias. So have you ever said that? Have you ever said this is disgusting about anything? Because if you have, that's not facts. Have you ever said that on your show, dude? I'm pretty sure I've seen him say that on like the 2 or 3 videos.
But what I said about the president last night coming out of his speech had nothing to do with statues. I was talking about his behavior.
Yeah, but what about being biased?
Stage, so that had nothing to do with that. Yeah.
Again, totally understood. But the way that it read is that you have a personal animus toward the president, and that's the way he wants to play it. So whether that's true or not, that's the way that a lot of his followers are going to take it.
I only have a personal animus towards ignorance when people don't know their history, whether that's the president of the United States, a guest on this show, or someone I speak to on the street. I think if you're going to be able to, you need to be able to defend yourself. And in order to defend yourself, in order to have a right, clear perspective, you need to know history and you need to be educated about it. And in many ways, I think people who are fighting for these issues.
That makes absolutely no sense. So, no, you just need critical thinking skills. To be able to understand that X would be wrong today, you have to be able to look back at any times in history where X might have happened and X might also have led to negative things. Oh, what you needed to read a book about the Holocaust to understand that gassing Jews is bad? Okay, pal, there's something wrong with you. Maybe you should go get help. Okay? Yeah, if we're literally, fucking, proning our, our generations to think, oh yeah, don't worry, to be able to tell whether or not something is wrong, don't actually use insight, don't use your critical thinking skills, don't use logic, just think if you could see a, place in the past where this has happened, and, and thing is, things don't always happen in the same way, so, yeah, you might not necessarily be able to link those things back from the past, because any difference in how things may happen, a lot of the time, if these people are plotting wrong against, plan to overturn democracy, they aren't gonna do it in a way that'll just be, oh, yeah, look, this is exactly like in Nazi Germany. No, they'll know that, yeah, let's say, this is how Hitler did it because it's the most effective way of doing it if you're gonna go by that. Yeah, thing is, anybody who would plan on doing that, they'd make sure to do it differently. just for the sake of that. If they're smart enough to be able to overturn democracy, they would have studied history to make sure that nothing is too incriminating against them. So, yeah, think about history. How can history teach you about the future? Well, it can teach you about all of the mistakes that you're never going to make again in the same way. And it can teach you, hey, look, this was bad, and look at this bad consequence that it had. Or you could use your critical thinking skills, think ahead of time at any situation, whether or not it has already happened, and think about what you should do. Think about it logically. Don't think as of, oh, well, I don't know, let's just look back at the past and just be fucking brain dead and just, like, cross it. No, use your fucking brain. If you need history to be able to tell you whether or not something is right or wrong, to tell you what impacts things, no, your critical thinking skills. What impact should you expect something to have on someone else? History can always possibly help you, but look, where do you want people to learn history? In school? What did we learn about history? Did we ever learn in any history class why these people might have done what they did? Why Hitler might have done what he did? What allowed him to get into that much power? Why did people fall for it? All the time during, like, I remember in school when they teach us about the Holocaust, they'd be like, but how could people fall for this? How can people be that stupid? Teacher's response? I don't know, like, that's fucking crazy, right? Yeah. And everyone would be like, damn, I wouldn't be like that. They're retards. So, people like, what, less than 100 years ago, they were all retarded? But, like, all of us, we're just way smarter than that. Like, none of us would commit the Holocaust today. I remember, like, when we would have the Holocaust and stuff taught to us, that was always sort of the conversation the class went down. Oh, wow, these people are so retarded. People today are so no, you're not teaching people, like, oh, well, what allowed for this to happen? How did people, how did Hitler, convince these people? How did all... No, you just learn brain dead fucking information. Like, what are the dates? How many ships did Christopher Columbus have? Which one did he ride on? Yeah, you just learn about, oh, well, what was the name of the place this was called? Yeah, what was the name of the... It's literally all just, oh, what, memorize the name of this shit. There's no actual lesson behind it. There's no... Oh, so what does that tell? What should we pull from this? No, that's just not how history is taught. If you go to school, especially to public school, that's the only one I've went to, I was forced to have an hour of my life wasted every day I went to school, from fucking, like, whenever history started to, like, 12th grade. Like, no. History is clearly a waste of time. The people who decided we should teach people about what used to be important, just so that they can know what they should have done in the case that they are brought in a time machine. It's like, no, the people who made these policies have brain damage. They should have just been put in a mental asylum with people who could make sure they don't go bang their head against the walls. That's what we should have done to the people who decided to put history and English on the curriculum. Well, English, who knows? Well, I don't know, are you in middle school and you still don't know your own language? Well, I don't know. Well, how about we keep teaching you English? Oh, well, you already know your language? Well, guess what? We'll just teach you, we'll just fucking teach you it again. How about that? I don't know. How about other languages? Oh, well, yeah, apparently you're not even done learning your own language. Well, you've been done. We're just teaching it to you a second time. How about teaching you languages that other people will speak? You know, people who actually live in the places where these languages are spoken. Oh, well, you know how to communicate. What's the whole point of communication? What's the whole point of language? Is to be able to communicate with other people. Well, you are now going to have to learn 2 different languages other than you. And what's going to be the point of learning these languages? Well, it's not going to be to communicate. It's going to be so that you can actually communicate with nobody, because these languages aren't actually spoken here. It's going to be to make sure that if you want to express yourself, which is the whole purpose of language, except that you want to say the same thing in 2 different ways, yeah, you could just make your voice more high pitched when you speak, or you could, well, let me teach you all that stuff. Yeah, like, obviously schools don't do a good job with teaching you shit, and yeah, if you think we should learn history, clearly that shows that school didn't teach you to be smart. Teaching people history is teaching people to be fucking retards. Teaching people to rely on, hey, let's just expect whatever's going to happen that's bad. Yeah, let's just expect it to happen in the same exact way. Yeah, what are we gonna learn? The dates and the names of the people who were involved. That is all you learn. If you, like, if I really needed to, I could pull back all my old tests of history and stuff. All that you are ever forced to learn in history, all that there is on the tests of any history class, what were the names of these people? What were the dates at which these things happened? All of the aspects of history which you are forced to learn are the aspects which specifically, it's literally, all you're learning is how this, like, what were the details of that situation. So yeah, when all you learn in history is the dates, the places where the said thing happened, and yeah, the names of the people involved, that's all you learn in history. You don't actually learn the rhetoric, which could actually be reused. You don't actually learn the tactics, learn the mindsets of people, learn the processing behind which all this happened. How did people process this? What was the whole mechanism behind this? Things that might actually have real applications. So yeah, when you're arguing in favor of people learning more history so that they can predict how things will happen in the future, when you're yeah, advocating in favor of learning history more rather than less, and history is taught in the form of literally everything that you could never be able to translate to now if it happened now. Because what did you learn about these events? Oh, well, they happened back then, they happened in a different place, and they happened at a different point in time. Yeah, they happened to different people. The people involved were called this and that. Yeah, there's absolutely no cross comparison you can make. You're not learning to identify the rhetoric. So when you're saying we should learn history, maybe you should learn the present, okay, pal? Maybe you should learn what is actually relevant to today, because we live in today. If like, what? How are people so fucking stupid? Is it because they're forced to learn history instead of learning things that are fucking relevant? Instead of learning how to be smart, they're learning about how other people who no longer exist, who are no longer relevant, used to be stupid. And we aren't even being taught, like, how to avoid, like, any lessons. What could we pull from this? How could we use that to learn to not be stupid in the future? No, we're strictly learning the fact that these people were stupid, what their names were, what like, all of these things that were specific to that situation that would be different for, say, if a similar type of incident were to happen in the future. none of the things that you learn in history class, none of these things you'd be able to cross them over to the event as it's happening now, because that's just not the context that you learn history in history class. This, for example, is information that is relevant to the present, and you don't know it. So clearly, learning history doesn't teach you to say smarter things or be smarter than actually learning common sense.
Or not.
And yeah, common sense will always work at predicting any scenario, because you don't have to just rely on just hoping that it happened in the past and in a way that was similar enough for a brain dead person who'd think that learning about what used to be relevant instead of what's relevant now, hoping that such a dumb person could actually catch up on the similarities. Like, Jesus Christ, my brain is fucking rotting.
And that means the people who want to take the statues down, and some of them who do not want to take the statues down as well.
Yeah, history is absolutely useless. It's brain dead. I genuinely I don't get how do people I think it's a lack of organization on large fucking scales. We think that's the problem, but yeah, imagine if, like, how could these people be taken seriously? Yeah, imagine saying unironically, oh yeah, what is an important thing that we should what is an important measure we should take to ensure that we don't, I don't know, have a new Holocaust in the United States. Oh well, we should keep doing what we're doing. We should learn that Hitler's name was Hitler. We should learn that gassing Jews were bad, just in case the next Holocaust is also gassing Jews, just in case they also get gassed and not killed in a different way, because then it's like, I don't know, I don't really remember that being taught about the Holocaust, them being, I don't know, lynched or something. Well, I don't know if that's wrong, because, I don't know, that's not what the Holocaust is. Yeah, like, imagine if somebody were to tell you, yeah, the most effective way of making sure that tragedies don't happen today is to make sure we learn about how, to make sure we learn the dates at which people used to be stupid, so that we can learn who else was stupid, so that when it's our turn to be stupid ourselves, we can remember the names of the other people who were stupid while we're being stupid. If somebody told you that, wouldn't you think, yeah, this person should probably be taken care of. Somebody should probably make sure this person doesn't start bashing their head against the wall and, I don't know, killing somebody else. That's sort of what you'd think of that person. You'd think they're insane. Why is this a status quo? Why is anybody, why is it a thing in a country full of people who are able to do basic skills, people who are able to think for themselves, people who are able to learn a language, people who have that much intelligence, how can they hear anybody saying that history makes sense to be taught in schools and not immediately just go, holy shit, what happened to you when, how many times were you dropped as a kid? Are you okay? Do you need someone to go take you back home? You clearly can't drive. I mean, like, why do we take that type of just brain dead cancer, something so stupid as, yeah, to prevent future catastrophes from happening, we should just make sure that we remember the last time that other retards did such catastrophes, so that we could be retarded just like them, while remembering that they were also retarded. Like, why is this a status quo? Why do people believe that? Why would anybody believe that? It's so stupid. It's just, like, I just fucking lose brain cells thinking about it, honestly.
What are you doing today
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
change your mood? Me? 30 minutes ago? I've taken this...
Yeah, by the way, that shit costs a bit more than... like, dude, if people, if your weed dealers aren't doing you a solid, if your weed dealers aren't giving you better prices, the absolute lowest price, like the absolute highest price that anyone would buy weed at is $10 a gram. Like, if you look like out in the streets, if you look anywhere in your neighborhood, anybody who sells weed, like, no one will buy food from you for more than 10 a gram. Unless you're selling like super good quality stuff. So, yeah, usually, people will actually, if you want to sell your stuff, you'll need to make it below 10 a gram to a certain degree. Like, it's about how much lower than 10 a gram someone's prices are. If someone, sells for 10 a gram, without like, oh yeah, if you buy 4 grams, for example, that'll be like 30 instead of 40. Yeah, Mood actually sells their product for a bit more than 10 a gram. So yeah, I'd say just keep your boys in the street in business, you know. Okay. What else? Anything that I'd want to watch? No, it's getting sort of late. I should probably end this stream. I mean, in less than 2 hours, I'm gonna have to